Hey, it's Bree and thank you for watching my video. Today I have a video for you guys about how I created an acrylic pour. I am using the colors light blue, magenta, light green, and purple. And all of the paints that I am using came from the same company, Primal Flow. I will link their sites in the description so you guys can check them out for yourselves. They always offer really good deals and their paint is so vibrant. So the first step, I'm applying the blue paint all over the canvas. I wanted that to kind of be my base color. So I'm going to layer the magenta color over the top, but I'm going to try to get that in between the paint so a lot more of the canvas is covered. And then I'm going to go in the opposite direction. Use the light green. The next step, I'm going to take the purple and go over mostly in the cracks in between the green. And I'm going to add one more color towards the end, and it's not really going to be a part of the final product, but I add white just to those bigger holes where the paint is not touching, so it's easier for it to slide around on the canvas. Now what I'm going to do is tilt the paint around the canvas for multiple reasons. Mainly to get all the paint spread all over the canvas so there's no holes. But secondly, it's so I can start manipulating and stretching out the patterns within the paint so I can see what I have to work with. This giant clump of white paint, honestly, was horrendous, and I hated it. And I couldn't really figure out a way to get rid of it besides wasting a whole bunch of paint. And spoiler, that's what I had to do. Couple tips and hints I can give you about moving your canvas around. You don't necessarily have to move it in a specific way in order for it to look good, but I really suggest moving it in a way that the paint tells you to. Like, you can see the way the paint spreads naturally just because it's a liquid, and if you work with the way the paint is moving already, you are less likely to get muddy colors, and it's more likely for the colors to just spread out more evenly. What I'm doing now is adding a little bit of extra light blue and magenta into the middle of the purple because it looked too concentrated, and the harsh line between the magenta and the green at the top and the purple in the middle just I was not feeling it. All I'm doing right here is taking some of the light blue and trying to add it to the white so it's not just a giant ball of white in the middle of my painting. That honestly really didn't help, but it doesn't matter because towards the end, as you can see, like right now, I just end up tilting it off the canvas and kind of wasting it, but that's okay. That's a part of life. One thing I really suggest if you plan on doing acrylic pours is making sure you invest in paint that you don't mind wasting. The paint I use is honestly really expensive, but I was fortunate enough to get this paint on an extreme discount, so I didn't pay nearly as much as I would have. But you don't have to spend a lot of money on paint to do these kind of paintings. I started out with 50-cent paints from Walmart, Floetrol from Lowe's, and a little bit of silicone from Lowe's. It does not have to be expensive. So now you can see I've finally gotten the pink and the green at the top to spread out, and the blue at the bottom has also spread nicely. So what I'm going to do now is take a torch and go over the entire canvas. Now what this does is it helps pop the air bubbles and bring the hidden colors that are underneath to the surface, and that creates something called cells. Cells are something you don't have to have in your art, but I like to add them to kind of make colors blend better together. I didn't really like the painting until after it finished drying because more cells continued to pop up throughout the drying process. So I have little speckles of different colors, mostly within the purple and blue, and it looks a lot better instead of just a solid block of purple and a solid block of blue and another solid block of purple. At this point, the painting is basically done. All I really have to do now is just spread it out a little bit more so the cells are able to spread out. Because if you put the cells in the painting and don't really move it, they're going to stay tiny little holes. So if you want bigger cells and bigger divisions, you need to spread it out after you torch it. I know it doesn't really look like the paint is moving on the canvas, but trust me, every little movement, any little turn while the paint is still wet is going to cause it to do something different. Even if you can't really tell at the very moment, it's going to impact the way the paint looks once it's dry. What you see me doing here is adding some of the spilled paint back onto the canvas just so I could break up the color blocks just a little bit more because I didn't like how concentrated the purple was. I don't know why I don't really like that color. It just was too much for me. So I'm going to add just a couple little finger touches and then the painting is done. It's going to change while it's drying because the paint is still going to mix around and some might slide off of the canvas and more cells will pop up. But this is the close-up of the finished product for now until it dries. I will go ahead and add a final picture so you guys can see what it looks like after everything was done. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can get notified when I post my next video. Bye!